In this video we will cover the 10 most powerful weapon systems used by the Indian Armed Forces that stunned the globe. India, as one of the world's emerging military powers, has continually invested in its defense capabilities to safeguard its sovereignty and interests. With a rich and diverse array of advanced weaponry, the nation stands at the forefront of modern military technology. From indigenous developments to strategic acquisitions, India's arsenal encompasses a variety of lethal and sophisticated weapon systems across land, air, and sea domains. Before moving on to the video, please subscribe to Fun Info Time to watch more informative videos like this. 10. Pinaka MLRS. The Pinaka is a new rocket system that India started using in 1998. It replaced an older system called the BM-21 Giga Radians MLRS. The Pinaka can launch rockets up to 40 kilometers away and has 12 rockets on a truck with NBC protection. There's also a newer version with rockets that can reach up to 65 kilometers. These rockets are connected to other equipment like radars and drones to make them more accurate in battles. India worked with Israel to add a GPS system to the rockets, making them better for precise attacks. During the Kargil conflict in 1999, the Pinaka was used successfully in the cold and high-altitude regions. What's cool is that the Pinaka is much cheaper than a similar American system called the M270, but it works just as well or even better. Each Pinaka battery has 288 rockets, and the Indian Army has ordered more than 15 batteries. They're making 5,000 rockets every year. A future variant of Pinaka with 120 kilometers range is in development, and it would be in the same class as the Russian Smerch heavy rockets. 9. PAD. While the AD intercepts short-range ballistic missiles within the atmosphere, both missiles use navigation systems and radar seekers to target the enemy. The long-range Swordfish radar tracks enemy missile launchers and trajectories and is being upgraded to increase its range. Upgraded versions of the PAD and AD missiles will also have longer ranges and higher flight ceilings. The AD missile may also be used to shoot down enemy aircraft and cruise missiles, making India one of the few countries with SAMs of this range. The PAD and AD missiles have a combined hit probability of 99.8% against enemy ballistic missiles. 8. Namika Nag Missile Carrier. This is a relatively unknown weapon that is developed by India. The core of this system is the third-generation Nag anti-tank missile mounted on a modified BMP-2 chassis. It contains 8 Nag missiles in armored box launchers plus a further 8 for reload with a complete optical and IR sensor suite to detect enemy tanks. These missiles are fire and forget and have a top attack capability which allows them to target the vulnerable top part of the tanks. The Nag has a tandem high-explosive anti-tank heat warhead which enables it to penetrate any armor in the region. It has successfully detected targets at 5 kilometers and engaged them in day and night conditions and has demonstrated its ability to destroy enemy tanks. The most unique ability of this system is its amphibious capability, which allows it to cross any water body in the battlefield. This weapon system is very unique as very few armies possess similar systems. The Indian Army has placed an initial order for 13 Namikas and 443 Nag missiles. They have projected a requirement for 200 Namikas and 7,000 Nag missiles. The Namika will form an integral part of Indian Army armored formations. It will spearhead tank divisions and eliminate high-priority enemy armored targets at long ranges. Future variants may incorporate longer-ranged Nag missiles. 7. P8I Neptune. India has a very long coastline of 7,500 kilometers and many islands that need protection. The water around India is large and good for enemy submarines to hide in. That's where the P8I plane comes in. It was chosen because it can stay in the air for a long time and has very good sensors that can find submarines better than any other plane. It can fly 2000 kilometers from its base, search for submarines for 4 hours, and then fly back to base without needing extra fuel. The P8I is easy to maintain because it's based on a regular commercial airplane. It has special equipment to find submarines, and the Indian version has some unique features. It can carry many sonobuoys and torpedoes to attack enemy ships and submarines. With the P8I, the Indian Navy can protect its interests in the Indian Ocean and find submarines far away from their shores. India currently has 8 of these planes, with 4 more on the way. India may buy 12 more in the future, especially after they retire their old Tu-142 planes. 6. T-90 SBMA. The Indian Army has a lot of T-55-70 tanks, so when they needed new ones, they picked the T-90S. They got them quickly from Russia because they heard their neighbor was trying to get different tanks. The T-90S is not too heavy, and only needs 3 people to operate it because it has a special loader for its gun. It can also shoot special missiles and has a machine gun that can be controlled from inside the tank. The Indian version of the tank has special armor to protect it. And it uses a diesel engine, which is easier to take care of than other tanks. People say the Indian T-90S tanks are not as good as the Russian ones, but the Indians have made some changes to them and made them even better. They are planning to add more protection to the tanks, and they can be moved around easily by plane. Right now, India has about 1500 T-90S tanks, and they plan to have about 3000 by 2025. 5. INS Vikramaditya and Kolkata class destroyers. The 5th place is tied between India's advanced Kolkata class destroyers and its aircraft carrier INS Vikramaditya. Both are extremely powerful assets which will operate together in order to project power and carry out missions. India's latest aircraft carrier, the INS Vikramaditya, is the largest ship ever operated by them. This 45,000-ton refurbished carrier is currently the most powerful asset in the Indian Ocean. It has the capacity to deploy 24 MiG-29K fighters along with 6 AEW helicopters. This formidable combination gives the Indian Navy a very useful power projection tool. The carrier has a Russian electronic and sensor suite which is said to be powerful enough to prevent it from being tracked by powerful airborne radar systems. Though currently unarmed, the carrier will receive the Barak 8 SAM for self-defense during its first refit. The carrier uses a ski jump to launch fighters and arrestor wires to recover them, classifying it as a STOBAR carrier. The Kolkata class is the first modern Indian destroyer. Indigenously designed and built, this class of 3 ships will add considerably to the capability of the Indian Navy. It is also the first Indian warship to use an active electronically scanned array, ESA, radar, the MF Star, which has 4 static panels instead of a single rotating panel. This multifunction radar also allows for the replacement of a dozen other smaller search, track and fire control radars with a single system. Its main armament is a battery of 16 vertically launched Brahmos supersonic long-range anti-ship missiles. This is by far one of the deadliest missile armament of contemporary warships. It can hit ships at ranges of around 300 kilometers with extreme accuracy. The primary SAM is the Barak 8 long-range surface-to-air missile, LRSAM. This modern missile is lightweight, accurate and can hit targets up to 90 kilometers away. Overall, it is a very balanced and highly capable multi-role destroyer. 4. Falcon AWACS. India was late to get into the Airborne Early Warning and Control System, AWACS, game, but when they did, they got one of the best in the world. It's made up of a special radar called the Israeli ELTA ELW 2090, which is put on a Russian IL-76 plane. The radar sits inside a dome on top of the plane and can scan all around without moving. This makes it super fast at tracking targets, even faster than other well-known systems like the E3 Sentry. It also has other cool features like a system for identifying friend or foe. protection from electronic attacks, and collecting information about enemy radars and communications. These AWACS, called Falcons, are really important for the Indian Air Force. They can spot targets from far away, which is especially useful in places like mountains and deserts where there aren't many ground-based radars. They can keep track of lots of targets at once and help guide fighter jets and missiles to intercept them. If they're used in battle, they can help stop cruise missiles and surprise attacks from enemy planes. They usually go out with fighter jets for protection and can be sent to stop long-range threats. India wants to get a few more of these systems in the future. 3. INS Arihant. INS Arihant, India's first indigenously built nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarine, SSBN, stands as a symbol of the nation's technological prowess and strategic deterrence capability. Commissioned into the Indian Navy in August 2016, INS Arihant represents a significant milestone in India's quest for a credible sea-based nuclear deterrent. This submarine, constructed under the Advanced Technology Vessel (ATV) project, is propelled by a nuclear reactor, granting it virtually unlimited underwater endurance and operational range. The K-15 SLBM, also known as B-05, has a range of approximately 750 to 1,500 kilometers, while the K-4 SLBM extends the strike range further, with estimates ranging from 3,500 to 5,000 kilometers. Beyond its offensive capabilities, INS Arihant incorporates advanced stealth features, making it elusive to enemy detection and surveillance. Its design allows for quiet and covert operations. This is important for keeping things unclear to enemies and staying safe in dangerous places. 2. Brahmos missile. This is definitely India's most famous weapon. It was made when India and Russia worked together to change the Yako missile to fit India's needs. They made it so it could be launched from any platform. This missile is 9 meters long and weighs 3 tons. It's now very important to India's defense forces as a long-range weapon. The Indian Navy uses it on most of their big ships. The Indian Army has 3 groups that use it, and the Air Force is testing a version for planes. This version is lighter and can be carried by the Su30 MKI plane. They make about 100 missiles every year. The next generation of Brahmos is named as the Brahmos NG. It is basically a smaller version of the current Brahmos with similar performance and minor improvements. It will undergo a 50% weight reduction and a 30% length reduction and 0% performance reduction. So how is it possible to do such a thing? According to my sources, the current Brahmos uses large electronic circuits and heavy guidance systems and components. The casing of the missile is quite heavy as well, since the missile has 25-year-old technology which is excellent but heavy and big, which makes the current version so heavy. The NG will feature new-gen microelectronics and advanced composites which will drastically reduce its weight. The new smaller ramjet will also contribute to the smaller size and reduced weight. The speed will be increased from Mach 3 to Mach 3.5. All the branches of the Indian military have expressed interest in the NG variant. 1. Su30 MKI. If there is one aircraft that has defined the Indian Air Force in the 21st century, it's the Su30 MKI. This is a long-range, multi-role, supermaneuverable 4.5 Gen fighter which is built according to Indian specifications. The baseline Su30 MK from Russia was modified with French, Israeli and Indian avionics to create the ultimate Su30 variant for India. It became the Su30 MKI where I stands for India in this key. After realizing the combat potential and versatility of this amazing fighter, the IAF placed an order for 272 aircraft, which makes India the largest Su30 operator in the world. The Su30 MKI is the bread and butter of the IAF, as the rest of their fleet consists of legacy 4th gen fighters which have just a fraction of the capabilities of this fighter. With its 4,000 km range, 12 hardpoints for 8,000 kg of weapons, PESA bars radar, it outclasses any other fighter in the region. It is safe to assume that one Su-30 MKI can do the job of two MiG-29 and two Jaguar combined. It is currently used for air defense, reconnaissance and ground attack. The Su-30 MKI is evolving into a cruise missile platform for the IAF. In future, it will be integrated with Brahmos and Nirbhay cruise missiles, which would give it strike capabilities never before imagined by the IAF or its rivals. It also is integrated with several indigenous and imported electronic jamming pods and anti-radiation missiles, which make it a deadly platform for suppression, destruction of enemy air defense, SEAD, which is the most important part of modern warfare to sanitize enemy threats.